Hey everybody, the K9 Diva here. So, I have been a dog behavior professional, a dog trainer, a behavior consultant for decades. And would you believe me if I told you that the majority of dogs that owners come to me and are convinced that their dog has a behavior problem, the majority of those dogs, in fact, do not have a behavior problem. The truth of the matter is, it usually comes down to several different factors. One, the dog is not getting their needs met. Every dog of every breed has certain needs. Now, of course, we know about the needs of food, water, shelter, right? But dogs have other needs other than that. And most of those needs have to do with just them being a dog. For instance, some dogs have a need for exercise, a lot of it, right? Especially if they were bred to herd cattle all day, say, herd sheep all day, hunt all day, swim, do water retrievals all day. Dalmatians, for instance, they were bred to run alongside horse-drawn carriages for 20 plus miles at a time without stopping. This is just to name a few things that dogs were bred to do. But guess what? They don't get to do it most any of those things unless they live on a working farm, right? Most of us who have our pet dogs, we don't have sheep. We don't have cattle. We don't have horse-drawn carriages. We don't hunt all day. We go to the grocery store and get our food that way. So these dogs are basically idle for way longer than they were meant to be. Now, before I go further, let me explain. This does not mean you have to go out to get cattle and go out and get sheep or get a horse-drawn carriage. It doesn't mean any of those things. But what it does mean is that you have to do your due diligence to simulate some of those things that dogs got to do. And that is called enrichment activities. So, like, what could that mean? You know what? There's something called Tri-Ball, and I want you to Google it. Tri-Ball. You know what that is? That is an activity or a sport in which a dog that has a propensity and an instinct to herd, they herd, sort of. They herd balls, like big play balls, right? Yeah. Dogs that like to chase and hunt. There are various different activities that you can do to help supply and fulfill that need and instinct in dogs as well. Dogs that like to hunt also like using their nose. So you can play various different nose games and scent detection games with dogs like that. So there are ways to provide that type of enrichment. And certainly there is physical exercise that can, kind of cut the edge off in a lot of dogs. But then, even more importantly, enrichment activities aren't just physical exercise. They also involve mental stimulation as well, and stimulation of the other senses. Like I mentioned, nose and scent detection. They're using their scent of, or their, a scent of smell or their sense of smell. They are using, if they're chasing, they're using their sense of eyesight, like what sight hounds do. So a lot of it has to do with that when dogs are, quote unquote, acting crazy, being destructive, won't settle down, sometimes even behaving aggressively can manifest out of a dog having a lot of pent up energy, tension, and anxiety. So, yeah, this is not to say that there are not dogs with bona fide behavior problems, because there definitely are. But I really gotta say, my experience is the vast majority of dogs really, it just comes down to their needs not being met, and a lot of that comes down to a mismatch. A lot of that comes down to choosing the wrong dog for you. I was watching a video. It's always kind of cute when we see videos of people that are not really quote unquote experienced dog people, and they get a dog, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this dog is teething and they're biting the kids and chasing the kids and running all around and not listening and digging up the yard and blah, blah, blah. And then they think that their dog has some type of behavior problem. No, basically, your puppy is becoming a dog. Um, Dogs don't have any moral code. They don't have a set of rules. Our societal rules are not their rules. We have to teach them what is acceptable. If we don't properly train them, they're not going to know these things. They don't come with knowing anything, and they don't know they're being bad and doing wrong. There is no moral code. They do what is fun. They do what they like. They do what garners them some type of return, makes them happy, is desirable, makes them, is fun for them. That's what dogs do. So, the dog's not doing anything wrong, really, not really. You have to show them, you have to teach them, you have to meet their needs, and then you will find out that there's nothing wrong with your dog at all. And you know what? There are going to be times when you're just not going to be able to provide that. I am definitely of the mindset that sometimes there is a bad match. This happens most often when people get a dog because of aesthetics. And what I mean by that, they think that particular dog or dog breed is cute. I see this happening a lot with doodles, for instance. They're very cute. Doodles, actually, they did studies on this. They're, big eyes, floppy ears, and their fluffiness, it is very appealing to people, to humans. They did a study on what kind of dogs that the majority of people found visually appealing and receptive to, that did not feel threatened by. And the doodle has everything. They have everything that was quoted as characteristics that a dog could have that people find very non-threatening. Like I said, large eyes and floppy ears, fluffy coat. They're very cuddly looking. So they're very appealing. But what a lot of people don't realize is most doodles are a combination of breeds of dogs, sometimes opposing characteristics of dogs. Like what I've seen a lot in recent years are doodles that are a mixture of a poodle and a mixture of a herding breed. Well, herding breeds and poodles are a sporting breed. They're in the non-sporting breed, but they are a sporting breed. They are a water retrieving breed, no different than a Labrador retriever or a golden retriever. That's what poodles actually are. And I'm talking right now about this larger size poodles, the standard and miniature. But yeah, they are water retrieving dogs. So you have that sporting, those characteristics. And then some of them are being bred with like Australian Shepherds, Border Collies, let's see, and those are both herding breeds. So you have herding breeds that are not water retrievers, but they have a drive to herd cattle. And herding instinct is, prey drive. It is running after things, very active, trying to corral people and things and other dogs. Yeah, those are pretty opposing characteristics. So a lot of times that will manifest in some very problematic and quite weird behavior. So again, people boop, 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 call up the dog trainer or behavior consultant and say, yeah, my dog is having behavior problems. No, not really. Your dog is doing exactly what I would expect a dog with all that stuff going on in their head. So you, as the owner, would have to find ways to work that out. Provide enrichment activities, provide exercise, provide mental stimulation that will help satisfy those urges, and also training them when it is appropriate. Because the thing about enrichment activities, you're not telling a dog that, oh, it's okay to tear up the yard and do this and that. No, 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 no. You are giving them appropriate legal outlets for these various different behaviors. And that is key. So the dog will get to express some of that, but they do it in a legal and appropriate way that is not problematic to you. Now, having said all this, did you think about all that when you got the Aussie Doodle? Probably not. At least my experience is, no, they didn't think about all that. They saw an adorable, fluffy, floppy-eared, big-eyed puppy that they thought would be great with their kids. That's what they saw. And you know what? It can be that, but usually you have to put some work into it, or you may have to put some work into it. And you know what? Some people are just not up for it. Some people were not thinking they were going to have to do all that. And, that's why, selecting the right dog, the right breed for you, your lifestyle, your family, your availability, your time availability, all that is very, very important when you are going dog searching. So, because it's Christmas time, and a lot of people do add dogs to their family at Christmas, please make sure you choose wisely. Also, don't surprise anyone with a dog. Make sure that they are ready for that dog and that they are capable of giving that particular dog everything and meeting that dog's needs, because you don't want it to be a mismatch. And that's when it gets hard, because then you get attached and you don't want to have to rehome, and it's just not good. So anyway, hey, dog ownership is a beautiful thing. It is truly a beautiful thing when you are prepared for it and when you have done your research and you are ready to take on that responsibility and meet that particular dog's needs. All right? Happy holidays, everybody.